Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this pre-match press conference of Brazil before the round 16 match with Korea. So, first of all, let me introduce our top table. At my left, the assistant coach César Sampaio, followed by head coach Professor TITE, and of course Thiago Silva, one of the players. So before we start, I don't go into many details because you know already the procedures. Just to let you know, follow the language, they are on screen: English, Arabic, Portuguese, and Korean, please. And the rest you know all. Raise your hand, give your name and organization, and then we can start. Only and one last word for the photographers, please. 3-4 minutes for you, and then I would appreciate if you can leave the room, okay? Thank you so much. So we can start. First questions to Thiago Silva, please. Just in the front, please. There are two. Yes. Okay.
Bom dia, Jorge. Fala, Thiago. Boa tarde, Wellington Campos.
Hi, Thiago. Good afternoon.
Te ver aqui de novo.
Wellington Campos from Itatiaia Radio. It's good to see you again. Our fans were a bit scared with what happened on Friday. And what's your message for them for the game against Korea? What are the assurances you can give them in terms of Brazil remaining in the World Cup? And what about Neymar? Will he take part on the game? The question is for Thiago, the player. Yes, my answer is yes.
Respondido.
I think it's enough said.
Sobre a gente continuar ou não.
Now, regarding Brazil remaining in the World Cup, we cannot be 100% sure. What I can say is that we are preparing, we are planning for that.
E automaticamente que com essas decisões o risco.
And of course, with the decisions we have made, we take risks, and that's normal.
Valeu nesse momento correr.
But I think it was worth it.
Fisicamente bem, né?
And that said, in spite of Alex and Jesus, I think we have a good fitness to play against Korea. We should not take it for granted, thinking that the game will be as easy as it was during the friendly matches. Korea had a very difficult group, and they managed now to go to the round of 16, so they deserve all our respect, and we'll try to do our best during the next game. Good afternoon, Eduardo Gabardo from the Gaúcha Radio. You said yes, and afterwards there have been other follow-up questions, such as the one whether Neymar will play tomorrow or not. And Thiago, I would like you to elaborate on the loss of important players that will not be able to play, such as Alex Telles and Gabriel, and also it gives hope because there are other players that are now recovering from their injuries, such as Neymar, Danilo, and amongst others. Have you talked to those players? Well, we are very clear in our communication. Yesterday, before our training session, I admit that was very painful to see our colleagues injured, and it's sad not to be able to play with them. At the same time, we need to pursue our objectives.
Confortar pouco o coração dele da gente jogando bem, da gente.
And at the same time, we'll try to have great match. We'll try to have a great performance because that's the way we can support them. And I wish them a speedy recovery. And Tite will talk about the lineup and about the players who will be in the field of play. But it's good to see Danilo back, to see the good evolution of Alex, and I'm sure they will be of a high contribution to our team. Thiago, Monique Danello from TNT Sports. After being defeated by the Cameroon team, we have seen mixed feelings about the decision made by the technical committee of keeping only a few of the starting players in the game. And I would like to know from you how important was for you not to take part in the game against Cameroon. In other words, you were rested. How important is that for you to be rested before playing South Korea
Primeiramente, eu acho que foi
tomorrow?
tudo bem pensado pela comissão
First of all, I
técnica, né?
think the technical
Porque
committee
são jogos de
has
alto nível.
thought it
E o
through,
fato da
because
gente
we're
ter
talking
feito
here
nossos
about
dois jogos
high-level
bem, ter
matches.
vencido, já estar
And the fact
classificado,
that we
deu a
won the two
tranquilidade para
first
que eles
games and that we
pudessem ter esse
qualified
tipo
for
de
the round of
escolha,
16
né?
made us feel
Eu tenho certeza
comfortable
que
to
se tivesse saído mais um
make the
gol
decision
de
they have made.
Camarões ou da Suíça no outro jogo, com certeza estaríamos apanhando um montão aqui.
Of course, if the
Mas a gente
score had
acredita
been
naquilo que a
different, if
gente,
Cameroon had scored 2
no
goals,
nosso
for example,
planejamento,
or
sabe?
if the result of the other matches
E
were different,
já
then
estávamos classificados,
the situation would
sabíamos
be
das
different.
responsabilidades,
But
que era trocar 11
we
jogadores.
are
E por
qualified, we
vezes, quando
know
se
about
toma
the
decisões
risks and
assim, como eu falei
responsibilities
antes,
of
se tem risco,
replacing all the
né?
players, and when we make
Mas
decisions, we
graças a
take
Deus tudo deu
risks.
certo,
But
né?
having
Tirando
said that,
a
fortunately,
lesões dos meninos,
everything went
porém
well, except for the injuries
o
of
que a
our
gente teve de
colleagues.
planejamento é seguir em frente com o nosso
But
plano, com aquilo que a
that's
gente
part of
tem
our
em
planning, moving
mente.
ahead.
Hoje estamos muito bem fisicamente,
With
aqueles que não
our current
jogaram.
strategy, we want to move ahead.
Teoricamente,
Those
Coreia
who
estará
are now
pouco mais
part of
cansada
our
do que a gente,
team
porque é
are in
normal,
good
2 dias e
fitness.
meio de recuperação. É
Korea,
quase
the
que
Korea team
impossível de
will
você
be
recuperar 100%,
more
mas é uma
tired
Copa do Mundo. E tenho
than
certeza que eles
Brazil,
estão
but
super motivados para
this is a
enfrentar a
World
gente
Cup.
novamente
I'm sure that
e mudar aquele
despite
resultado
being
daquele
tired,
amistoso que teve na
they are
Coreia.
motivated, and I'm sure they
Okay,
want to
just
reverse
a second, please. I will
the
ask the
result
photographers
of
to leave
our
the room,
last
if you don't
friendly
mind.
matches.
Okay, well, then enough. Thank you. Please, thank you. Yes.
Thiago, Tite, César, aqui é a tua direita.
Tiago, I'm Tite Cesar. Good afternoon.
Eduardo Sembrano, canal Fui Clique, 3 na área. Eu gosto de falar de campo, de bola.
I would like to talk about the field of play, ball, tactics. However, today my question is different. I would like to know to what extent a defeat hinders your performance. To what extent is it a problem for the team? And at the same time, we see the Brazilian media that is criticizing that decision. To what extent
Eu acho
it
que
hinders
primeiramente assim,
your
eu acho que a gente
performance?
tem que analisar as coisas que a gente vem fazendo
First of
dentro de
all, it's
campo. Eu acho que a gente
important
está aqui para responder
to
esse tipo de
take
situações, né? E a gente se
stock of
sente à
what we are
vontade
doing
falando
in the field
se
of
jogou
play,
bem, se jogou mal,
and
o
we
que a gente
feel
poderia
at
ter feito
ease
de diferente.
when
A
assessing
parte
our
extracampo,
performance.
cara, é difícil a gente falar. Eu não me permito falar
Now,
do que
outside the
cada
field
faz
of
fora de
play,
campo.
it's
Claro que foi
difficult.
uma
I do
pequena
not
folga e eu
dare
fui um dos
to
responsáveis
say
também por
what
pedir à comissão
one or
técnica
the
esse
other
tempo.
does
Assumo a minha
outside the field of
responsabilidade
play.
e sei que os meninos saíram com seus familiares,
I know
jantaram
that
aonde
many of
quiseram
my
ir, sabe?
player mates have
E a
gone
gente
out
fica
with
achando
their
ou
family
procurando
members,
algum tipo de problema.
and
Eu
sometimes
não
we
vejo
are
problema algum,
looking for
porque
problems
esses
where there are
momentos
no
fortalecem a
problems.
gente também,
I think
sabe?
the
Tá com
moments
nossos
we have
familiares, com as pessoas que a
outside
gente
the field of
gosta,
play
é daí que
makes
vem
us
a nossa
stronger to
força,
be with
sabe?
our family
Se
members, to be
querem
with our
atrapalhar,
loved
assim,
ones.
sinto
That's
muito,
where
mas a
we
gente
source
tá muito
our
ciente,
energy
muito
from.
tranquilo e responsável daquilo que a
That
gente tem
said,
como
we are
objetivo.
very aware, we are responsible and focused on our
سؤال باللغة
objectives.
العربية إلى تياغو سيلفا.
Tiago,
Mas onde ele tá?
está ali, está ali. Está ali.
تياغو أود أن أسألك عن مردود زميلي.
Thiago, I would like to ask about your Hakim Ziyech, your colleague in Chelsea, who's playing for Morocco, and he's been a star so far in this tournament, and especially that he's not on a field of play a lot of minutes in Chelsea. So what do you think about that, and what do you think about tomorrow as well, about the match?
O Akin é um cara que dispensa comentários.
Akin
Fico feliz por ele,
is
porque não estava tendo tantas
someone
oportunidades
with
assim
whom I
no
do not
Chelsea.
need to make any comments.
E vem fazendo uma grande Copa do Mundo.
I think he has had
Mas
a
acho que não é o
great
momento
performance here at the
de
World
falar
Cup.
dele assim.
and
Mas
I
o
don't
nosso
think it's the
confronto
right
de amanhã,
time
como
to
você
talk
também bem citou,
about
é um
him.
confronto muito difícil. A gente
Now,
sabe das
regarding the
qualidades
match
da
for
Coreia, é um
tomorrow,
time
it's a very
que joga
difficult
para
match. We
frente,
are
gosta de ter
aware
bola,
of
enfim.
the Korean
Minimizar
team skill. They like
esse ímpeto
to
deles
pass the ball,
ofensivamente para que a gente possa
and we need to
obter a nossa
limit their
classificação, né?
offensiveness so that we
Sabemos que temos que
can
trabalhar muito
qualify
para conseguir
to the next round.
essa
We know that we need
classificação,
to work hard,
mas mais uma vez, o jogo
and
passado
I
não tem
insist,
nada a ver com essas oitavas
our
de finais de Copa do
last
Mundo.
game
Então tenho certeza que
has
será um jogo
nothing
muito
to do
difícil
with the round
e que eu
of
posso falar para você que a gente
16.
está super preparado também.
We know it will be a
Thiago, boa
difficult
tarde.
game, but I
Vinícius
assure
Gama,
you
Bahia
we are
Notícias.
very well
Quando
prepared.
se fala na
Hello,
Coreia,
Thiago.
muito se fala no som, jogador
When
da
we
Premier
talk
League,
about
referência.
Korea,
Que
we talk
outras
about Sonny
características
to a
dessa
great
equipe, jogadores
extent.
você
It's
pode
a
destacar?
player
Fala
that
pouquinho
plays
sobre essa
on
equipe
the
que
Premier
chega
League.
nas oitavas de final para enfrentar o
And
Brasil.
please tell us more
Olha, me
about
desculpa,
your
mas em
opinion
termos de nome
on
assim fica
this
difícil,
team.
né?
Well, it's difficult for me
Mas
to
assim,
talk
a gente
about
sabe
individual
que são
Korean
jogadores
players.
que jogam em alto nível, né?
We
O
know
som tá
that
ali em
they are
Londres comigo, eu sei a
players
dificuldade que é de
that
jogar
play
contra
at the
eles. O
highest level.
primeiro
We know how
meio-campista é um cara que tem
difficult
uma
it is
qualidade incrível de
to
passe,
play
a
against
gente
them.
tem
The
ciência
first
disso,
midfielder is also
entre
very
outros, né?
skillful. We know how
Defensivamente
fast they
são
can
muito
pass the
bons
ball, amongst
e
other
principalmente
players
nos
that are
contra-ataques,
very
né? Se
good,
você reparar o
especially
segundo
when
gol, praticamente
counter-attacking.
tinha o
If
som indo
we
sozinho com a
look
bola
at
e o Adon
second
fez o gol
goal
um
that
pouquinho mais
Korea scored
atrás
in its last
e ele
match, we
conseguiu
saw
chegar lá na
the
frente, ajudar o
Son
som para dar linha de
passing
passe,
the
enfim.
ball to
Então,
other
todo cuidado é
colleagues.
pouco com
So
esse time que
I think
tecnicamente é
we need
muito
to
bom.
be extremely
The
careful
last
with
question
this
for
team that
Thiago,
is
please.
very good technically speaking.
Deu uma cola aqui o César dos nomes.
Dos nomes.
É
So
o
Cesar
Song,
has given
número
me
6.
a list of the
Qual outra?
Korean
O
players.
Som,
So I'm talking about the Sun. It's difficult to
o
pronounce.
Lee,
Sun,
O Lee
number
um jogador
6,
muito
and
técnico, né?
also Lee. Lee
Em nomes
is a
assim, eu quase
very
não conheço muitos
technically
jogadores, porém
skillful
a gente
player.
sabe
I
que
do
a
not
qualidade que ele
recall their
tem
names,
é um
but I know that they're
jogador
very
já
skillful.
experiente, uma qualidade técnica incrível,
We know that they are very
como todo o time da Coreia. A gente teve
experienced. They
recentemente
have
esse
high
confronto e a gente sabe
technical
das dificuldades que a
skills.
gente vai
We
encontrar no
played
jogo. Por isso
Korea
nós estamos
in
trabalhando
the
no dia a
past,
dia para
and
minimizar esse
we
tipo de
know
situação.
how difficult it is.
Last
That's why
question,
we're
please.
working on a daily basis to minimize
مهدی هستم
the
خبرنگار
impact.
آزاد از ایران ببینید از سرمربی تیم سوال داشتم سوال من اینه که برزیل با خاطرات بسیار زیباش از تمامی جام جهانی قبلی علاقمندان بیشماری را نه تنها در برزیل آمریکای جنوبی بلکه در سراسر دنیا داره این پدیده‌ای که وقتی یک تیمی دوتا بازی اولش رو میبره و خیالش از صعود راحت میشه مثل این دوره فرانسه یا اسپانیا یا تیم‌های دیگه در بازی سوم مغلوب میشه یه پدیده‌ای که فقط در این جام جهانی به نوعی نهایتاً جام جهانی قبلی شاهدش بودیم سوال من اینه که سرمربی تیم نظرشون چیه چرا با قدرت برزیل یعنی سه بازی
There is no Farsi interpretation for this press conference.
The question is too long anyway, but this is not working. So there is no translation for this, please.
working now? It's working now?
And I don't speak Arabic, really. So, no. Hello?
It's working now?
No. Não há nada. Não há nada, não. Não tem. Não tem nada, não. Hello? No. Well. Is it,
Yes.
you know,
You translate?
No.
Interpreter's remark, there is no translation available into and out of Farsi.
No.
there's no translation available.
In English?
In English, please. If you can do in English, appreciate.
سوال من اینه که به طور English. Okay. I start English. Excuse me. What's your opinion about the third match Brazil against Cameroon and missing and losing 1-0 against Cameroon?
Primeiramente, eu acredito que
First of all,
temos feito bom jogo,
I think we played
suficientemente
a
para
good
ter vencido
match.
o volume de jogo,
We could have won the match. We created opportunities to score
nós estamos
goals.
sujeitos a esse tipo de situação.
But sometimes we are
Assumimos,
subject to this
né?
kind of
E
situation,
seguir em
and
frente,
we
cara.
take on our responsibilities, and we move on.
Na Copa de 2010 eu perdi jogo e fui para casa.
Especially because during the World Cup in 2010, I lost a match and I went back home. 2014, the same thing. 2018, the same. And now 2022, we are on the round of 16. We will learn from our past experiences. If we fall, we stand back on and we move forward. Because I think we have now another opportunity and we will fight hard to avoid any misfortune.
Thank you, Thiago. Okay, now we can start with the head coach, Professor Tite. There is also a gentleman over there. In the back, yes, please. Yep. Okay.
Tite, por aqui. Tudo bom? Aqui.
Chichi, here. To your left. Hello, Chichi.
Duas partes.
I have two parts to my question. First of all, to confirm, is Neymar going to be playing? That is the question, right? Will Neymar be playing? And how much is the team ready on his recovery, and what is the path which has been decided? We thought there was going to be a more complicated more ahead of us, and now it makes it a bit easier to reach the semi-final. So what is the national team thinking of from now onwards? From now onwards, Korea. That's all we think of. You've never heard us, we're going to do this or play against that opponent. That is not our role. Our role is to plan for the situations with the opponents we have. That is our objective. That is our focus. That's what we see as a goal. Regarding Neymar, and I knew that was a question you were going to ask us, he's going to practice this afternoon. And if he practices okay, he will be playing tomorrow. But there's a specific training today, and I don't want to think about anything, and I do not share any information which is not true. I want the credibility, and throughout my whole career, I've always had this with the press. When I don't want to say something, I don't say it. So my answer is, he will practice this afternoon. If everything is okay, he will play. The other 10, you don't know who they are.
Okay, yeah.
It's working. Tite aqui, Isabelle Costa, R10 Score.
Chichi, this is Isabelle. Talking about Gabriel Jesus, because there's some information that he was already feeling some pain in the matches for Arsenal. I'd like to ask you if you already knew he was feeling that pain, and if you did know, why did you cap him, running the risk of losing him in the middle of a World Cup? And obviously you can't replace him. And there were other players that you could have chosen. Could you please let us know, did you truly know that he was already playing with some pain, and why did you decide to still cap him? Thank you, Isabelle, because that's a very good question, because I don't like hearing lies out there, evil lies. Those are the people who want to do bad things for others. At no time whatsoever do we play for a victory at the risk of the peril of a player. So the liar who's out there, because that's the name, isn't it? That's how the haters, right? They keep giving hate. So it gives me the opportunity, go and do something else and stop giving fake news. Arsenal has a great medical department. We have a great medical department. We are responsible. We are personally responsible. We are ethical. And it would never have happened. I didn't want this to happen. It's a shame. We are very sorry for Gabriel. Yesterday we had Neymar, Thiago, and Marquinhos chatting with him, and then chatting with Telles. We then added Cesar. Cesar had an experience in the Brazilian national team, and he lived this. He has this experience of having been removed. He has more experience than I do to chat with them. And in one way or another, I'm going to say, not to take the pain away, because we obviously can't take that pain away, but just to make them feel better, to strengthen them, and for them to be able to participate with us as much as possible. Yes, that's important for us to clarify, because Chichi and Juninho were specifically visiting Arsenal, and at no moment were we made aware, not only them as well as the medical staff, I just repeat, Chichi said, we will never put health at risk for any result. And yes, an injury is difficult in an athlete's career, regardless of the moment it happens. It's always a situation when we feel fragile of not being able to do what you love and what you like, especially at a World Cup, which is a dream come true. Therefore, we spent some time with them, giving them some support. And we don't know what we will have ahead of us, but regardless of not being able to be with us physically, they are part of this team.
Okay. Yes, please.
Chichi, Leandro Quesada, tudo bem? Aqui.
Chichi, Leandro Quesada. Hello, Cesar. So if he's okay, he'll be on the pitch. You just told us that. Now the question is, this might be a 120-minute match. Is it better to start with him or to add him during the match? I'm thinking that possibly Neymar will not be able to withstand 120 minutes. So I'm asking you this, but what is your idea? Supposing you might have an extended time, and obviously we can't forget anything in football, right? We might go to a penalty shootout, and Neymar is a great player for that. We obviously pay a price for being the best, right? We want to be more competent and we want to be the best and never put health at risk. So Neymar being on the lineup, it depends on the medical department clearing that. Okay, let me make that very, very clear to you. So I want to be very transparent. And secondly, I prefer to use my best from the beginning, myself. And as a head coach, I have to take on that responsibility. It's my preference. Chichi, Raiza from Goal. Chichi, Brazil ended up having many problems at the beginning of a World Cup, lots of injuries, 5 players injured and 2 already out. I'd like you to tell us a little bit about what was the impact this has had in the work you have planned, and also if this very short preparation time compared to prior World Cups, if this has made a difference for this World Cup specifically. Well, adapting to a new reality. Yes, yes. When adapting, it has a series of components which are important for us to assess. What we tried to do, and what I can tell you is, in terms of capping players, we have to think about players who are versatile, especially from the defensive side backwards. Why? So that we could cover a possible problem as is happening now, and it's a great shame. We had a problem with Alexandro, and we had a serious problem with Alex Telles. 2 left wingbacks. And now we also have other players who have already played that role in their clubs. So that gives us a possibility. When we talk about the right side, we have Fabinho who can do that, or a defender who's also done that, Casemiro who has done that at some point, playing as a defender, Danilo who's played as a defender, etc. So it's just a history for us to think about what are the options we have to weigh this, so at a decisive moment such as this one, we are not surprised based on what we need to do at the last minute. Chichi and Cesar, good afternoon. My name is Luis. I would like to ask the following. The day before the match, based on everything which has happened in this World Cup with the Brazilian national squad, are you tense or are you trusting this? It's not decided. I know that we are better prepared because of what has happened, and even the loss against the Cameroons, as you've told us, and also of all the athletes. Those who are out are rested for this match. Those who played and played well are feeling more trust. Those who played and didn't play well will have an opportunity to improve and get ready. We, from the coaching staff, we have another set of information, despite the loss against Cameroons being difficult, as was the case. Chichi, to your right-hand side, Good afternoon. I'd like to say hello to you and Cesar. I'm from Belém. And considering the Cameroons which let Brazil play, Brazil was in the opposing side much more often than when the two prior opponents. And let's consider that Korea will play very closed, trying to seek an opportunity. I think that the national squad, talking about on the pitch, which I think you prefer to talk about the tactical aspects, you've been passing the ball easily, calmly to be able to reach the opposing box. Both our wingers, when they turn the ball to the opposite side, they are always alone and raising their arm to ask for the ball. And it nearly didn't happen in these three matches. Are you telling them about this? Wouldn't that be a good opportunity for the Brazilian team that haven't done that? So thank you very much. Luis, I'm going to tell you that I'd like to show you that with videos. It will happen. It is our strategy. And they did happen. That is our strategy. They did happen. I can show you on the video. Look at it again. This is the team that has most shots on goal in the competition. Look at it. You'll see it. You'll see it on the video if you replay the videos. I'm talking about the development and then inverting to the other side. If it's not, I'll come here and I'll tell you. But watch it again. And you'll see it. I'm sure you will. And Cesar will even actually be able to tell you who are the people who did that. No, yes, we have that as an option. We have done that. It's exactly at the last match when we weren't very precise with this last ball. But it has been in our balls, yes. But we didn't transform those opportunities into a goal. And amongst the offensive activities, yes, we do have that opportunity to change the side. And that's one thing that Martinelli was able to do, a header, but it was defended. So yes, we did have some plays like that. But don't ask me ever anything else, okay? Because it's difficult.
Please. Otherwise,
dá uma olhadinha lá, senão a gente fica aqui no imaginário.
Have a look, and otherwise we're just imagining, but you have to sit down, look at the stats. Otherwise we say, oh, did it happen, didn't it happen, did it happen?
Hi, I'm Jon from Danish broadcaster TV2. I want to ask you about the sad news of the conditions of Pelé. Can you put some words on what he means to Brazil as a nation and Brazil as a football nation, and how you and the squad reacted to the news about Pelé?
Obrigado pela pergunta e desculpa que eu tinha que ter.
Thank you very much for the question, and I'm sorry I should have started this press conference talking about Pelé. And I'm going to tell you about my feelings. Please excuse me to do that. This is possibly the only person who I actually was shaking when I greeted him. I'm speaking from the bottom of my heart. A very emotional moment for me. When, 2018, I'm going to tell the episode, we were sitting down and they said, there's the draw, and I was paying attention, there's a coach, a historical coach, and there's another one, and I'm going to take a photo and whatever, and I didn't even know what was going on. And that was okay. And I was concentrated and then said, go and hug Pelé. I stopped and I started shaking. My hands were sweating. My heartbeats increased. I said, wow, I'm going to have the opportunity to greet Pelé. He is the person who represents the human representation of someone who health, Pelé, health. That's all I can give you. It's something that all of us feel it's a difficult moment. I also had, if I can say this, the blessing. I was a player who was in Santos, the same club as Pelé, and I had the opportunity to interact with him sometimes. And the very first time I was capped for the national team, I had the opportunity to play with Pelé. It was something like even more than what Chichi said. It was, be able to talk to him and interact with him on the pitch. It was so difficult. Because of what he is, what he represents, it's something I never thought would happen in my life. And That's a moment where all we can do, regardless of your religion, we just ask you all to please say a prayer, do whatever you do, and please send him very positive vibes. He is a person who has influenced my development, not only as an athlete, but as a man and as a human being.
The last two questions, please.
Boa tarde, Jorge. Boa tarde, Tite. Boa tarde, César. Eric Faria, TV Globo.
Jorge, Chichi, and Cesar, good afternoon. Chichi, I'd like you to please tell us about Alexandro, if he's in the same situation as Neymar. For example, if he practices, he'll play forward or not. It's totally different if you could tell us. And if he cannot play, you're going to have to improvise against the Cameroons. It was Marquinhos. Will he be your option for this match? Are there other options? And what are those options? Good afternoon, Eric. Alexander's out. There's no medical conditions for him to play. Answering and making analysis of the question that you made before, that person there, Isabelli, when you talked about health, we will only not add him on the squad because he has a health issue, and we respect that health issue. If you have a look at who played in those clubs, you will know the answer to your question. You will know the answer to a question. Just make a bet. Go. Have a look. Look, Galvão, the pundit in the Brazilian TV, will tell you who it is.
Eu não falei Danilo? Nós falamos?
I didn't say Danilo? I didn't? I didn't say it? Oh, no, sorry. Danilo, I thought that Thiago made the comment, we're very happy because Danilo is back, that Neymar is back. He made that comment, so I thought that was answered. Danilo is back.
The last question, please.
Chichi, à sua esquerda, por favor, Chichi.
Chichi, here to your left, please. Here. I'm from Gazeta TV. Chichi, I'd like you to make an observation. Can you see me? Yes, I'm just looking at this light because it's really strong in my eyes. In the cycle pre-World Cup, many times the results were to remove a burden, right? The results of the national team, and many times were because of your opponent. Many times it was repeated that you never played against Europeans, and possibly you looked at Korea, Japan, and you possibly didn't give those victories as much value as they were worth. We see big European teams going back home, or the so-called upsets with the European teams with those smaller teams, and the Brazilian team won them well, and possibly the victory was not as considered and as important as they should be today in the World Cup, where we see how powerful these national teams are. Are the results of a World Cup surprising you, or is this an assessment which might have been incorrect by the press, by the fans, that Brazil possibly won them easily, and now here in the World Cup they're much more difficult than what we thought they would be? Thiago, I don't make a comment about a comment. That's my very honest opinion. Each moment there was a situation, each moment had its circumstances, because, otherwise it's just hearsay. You ask me to go against an opinion given by the press, and that way we start a fight. No, that's not the purpose of us being here. The purpose is to build. I see things in a different way. It's not a fight where a coach has to go, I'm going against that person, that made a mistake. No, that's not it. It is great ideas to have the ideas being treated respectfully, and also being careful to have no fake news. That's why I said before, the opportunity of having correct information. When it's an information of Arsenal, that's very, very serious. That's very serious. So we just need to be careful, and that's what I give myself the possibility to do that. My opinion is important, and that's why I need to accept criticisms. The fact that I use a team which was different than this original startup against Cameroons. That's part of life. That's part of a match. That's part of my job. It is part of my job. Diverging ideas? Yes, obviously. This World Cup has a different feature to it. Very short recovery time, heat, intensity, getting ready. Help me, Cesar, please. I think FIFA was great to open this to 26 players. We actually spoke about this. And the level of information. I have seen that some of the national squads had technical options without so many of them can make up for the lack of the number of players. They have more tactical and strength development. So we don't really have so many favorites. Once you work with that information, it's not that clear. Just to add to something to that, and I think this qualifies our press conference here, our medical physical therapist assessed the high-intensity aspects of Poland in their third match, and it was nearly 40% less of the first two matches of Poland. So 8 players in the 3 matches had issues. So that means that it's very tough for the human body. Just to translate that into numbers for you. This is Galvão Bueno from Globo TV. He's the main pundit in Brazil. Thank you very much. Greetings to you. First of all, good luck. Good luck for tomorrow's match. It's got nothing to do with this question, but you spoke about Pelé with so much emotion. I also had the great pleasure in life to do 3 World Cups with him. I've been exchanging some messages with his team, and he says that when he feels the best is when he watches the Brazilian national squad, despite feeling nervous, which I think is something which does him good. I think, yes, you're right. We all have to pray and send him positive vibes. So, Eric spoke about the defenders. So, if Neymar is well, and as you said, you prefer to start with him, I know you don't like to mention names, but could we imagine that if Neymar is back, could we think about Casemiro moving forwards? We would have the first lineup? Yes, you could imagine that. Thank you for your answer.
Thank you, Professor. And good luck. Just last information, we have a training session today at 6 o'clock, first 50 minutes